fine. No complaints there whatsoever. Just don't know how to rotate the screen. There's probably a hotkey for it, because now my rotation is different from what it used to be, but that's okay. That's why I spend most of my time here too. It's just a lot easier than navigating this 3D space. Now, one thing is, let's look at the blueprints. We just unlocked a technology recently called artillery, and what if we wanted to use that to, say, create some orbital defense? Which we can. So let's create a new design. Let's go to Layout View, Clear. So we have 3 hulls unlocked right now. Fighter hulls are very, very optimized for small ships, and they don't protect subsystems, very low health. Standard hulls you can use for pretty much anything. I like station hulls. Station hulls cannot use engines. Okay, so these are for orbital things. So what we're going to do is we're going to create some sort of orbital, I'm going to pause the game here, some sort of orbital defense for our planets. Seems like a good idea. So we want to use for weapons, we're going to use these artillery weapons. They have huge range. They're slow firing, but they're very large range, very high damage, and can only be used on stations. It's perfect. We're going to do that. We're going to drop one in here. Now by default it's a size 1. We can scale it up all the way to 4 times normal size, or down all the way to 1/4 of normal size. Let's make one big gun. It won't be good for fighting fighters probably, but it's good against capital ships. And now positioning sort of matters. You can see it even says front over here, because when the ship gets shot, its stuff in that direction will take the damage. So you can stack things in a certain order to protect systems, more valuable systems behind one another. I haven't really played with that too much, but it's a great idea. There's subsystem modifiers as well. Like we can add a coolant system to these guns like that, which increases its firing rate. You can see the ammo peak usage per second actually change. Right now it's only using 1.4 bullets per second. And if we drop a cooling system on there, it fires 10 times as quickly. Ridiculous. And then it also gives us a warning. We need more control. Okay, let's take a look at control. What does that mean? Oh, we need a bridge. See, you can see here it mouses over. This bridge gives us control points. All right, so let's put that in there. And you can scale it up. I'll scale it up. You can see the point where it changes from insufficient control to insufficient crew. So now it's big enough that we've got enough control, but now we don't have enough crew. So let's drop a crew quarters. Shrink, shrink, shrink. Oh, we can get it all the way down to 1/4 the size. We still have enough crew. Now we need some life support. Oh, we need more crew. Now power is unstable, so okay, that's fine. So that's under support. There's a couple of different ways we can generate power. Since these things are static, you know what? I like going with solar panels for this. Put a big solar panel on the back. Oh, we actually need more. A couple of solar panels. Oh, that's enough. Wow. You know, let's balance these out. Let's go 2 and 2 1/4. It feels a little bit better. Solar panels on the back, great. Drop the life support down. There we are. Bridge. That's good. What else do we need? Well, we need some ammo. We can get detailed statistics on the weapons. Ammo usage per second. Uses 10 ammo per second. Ammo lifetime damage. Continuous firing time. Right now we can fire for 11 seconds and then we completely run out of ammo. And then we need to be reloaded. So okay, that's doesn't seem quite ideal. So can we put in some more ammo bays? Where would that be? Miscellaneous? Ammo cache. Ammo storage here. Increases our mass. Let's put a big ammo store. Solar panel. Solar panel. Near the side here. Now if we check the stats, we can fire for a minute solid without needing to be enforced. And that's pretty long. It's gonna be okay. Our space, we're almost capped. We really couldn't fit much more in there. I suppose we could. We might want to just put in some more ammo. Or, hey, how about defenses? A little bit of armor to maybe protect the guns. Actually, theoretically, we might get hit from the front more. So let's flank things like this and this. Now, armor doesn't actually take up some of your space. It just adds to the cost and weight, I believe. Let's protect the ammo store in the back. So it'll increase the production time, but it doesn't actually add to the cap since that's the outside. So really we could, if we really wanted to, Stick a little bit more ammo. Now we're at 17 of 17. And it doesn't end. We haven't put a scale. So let's name this. Let's call it Orbital Cannons. And we got to pick a scale. And right now, the scale is going to be heavily based on the cost we can manage. And those cruisers build fast-ish, but not that fast. And we're going to want some of these around every planet. Let's just make them pretty cheap. Let's go a size of 2. They're not very big, but then we'll go ahead and we'll build like 5 orbiting every planet. And that'll be some pretty good defenses. We're going to save this. That's great. So now it's in our list, orbital cannons. And we can also export this. Error exporting. Really? That's weird. Why would that? Oh, because it's not selected. When you save it, unselects it. Export. There we go. Now it's part of our profile. And you can see I've got a few other things in here that I've saved permanently because I can use these for future games if I really like the layout. You can also change the AI settings. By default, they're going to be pretty good for most ships. There's not much to do for these orbital things since they can't move, since they don't have engines. Behavior, allow other ships to fetch and deposit resources. Sure, why not? Docking settings, well, it can't really dock. So this is mostly for ships that belong to carriers. And the thing is, we could have orbital carriers, right? We could have space stations that orbit planets that act as carriers for fighters. So as soon as the enemy comes into the system, these orbital platforms just unleash hundreds of fighters that fight and then come back home and repair. Automation orders that automatically fetch fuel and fetch ammo when it's low. You're going to say, well, how can it fetch these things when it's too low? Well, it's not going to do it itself. There will be ships, these haulers and things like that, that will come and deposit those goods for you. Pick it up from a planet and then bring it home. Pretty smart, right? And you know what? We're going to add a command to automatically retrofit these ships. Once we get significant tech upgrades, they will automatically upgrade themselves. So we'll resave that. Awesome. So now we can go back to our system. We'll unpause. So our home system here, let's go ahead and build some of these orbital cannons. I'm going to choose build on all selected, which I think, yeah, there we go. Yeah, if I click on the system, all the planets are selected. So now if I double click this, it should build 1 cannon at each system. There we go. Or each star. So each star will be protected by 1 long range cannon. Some build faster, some build slower, but that's okay. In fact, I'm going to do this twice more because I want 3 of these cannons on each planet. There we go. So now I'm going to feel safe moving my ships away from my capital. Now, the cannons don't cover everything, but that's a pretty good defense. And I'm still waiting for that other system to be upgraded because, of course, we were paused for a long time. We're getting a bunch of techs that come in, which is great. All the cheap techs are being filled out. That is wonderful. Now, very soon, I'm going to want to build and research this metal refinery. You can see our galactic bank is actually completely tapped out, as everything is being used to finish these orbital cannons and these new systems. We've got another trade deal for luxury resources. Like, that is a really, really low rate. But I'm going to accept, and then it's going to automatically cancel because we don't have any. Yeah, failed. Insufficient. Which is a shame, because I would have liked to have taken that. But we're going to have to build some more good planets going forward. But we need our basic economy first. Orbital cannons are cool, too. I think they're just being upgraded here. Or no, those are the things I built, right? Those not. I'm thinking the planetary cannons. So I'm going to let these guys finish. Again, they're a little bit resource capped right now. Especially these scientific laboratories use a lot of advanced parts, so they can get delayed quite a bit. Let's speed things up. See, we've already overextended a little bit. Some of our builds are being delayed because of lack of resources, and that's going to be a lot worse once we start colonizing that extra planet. But now we're not building anything in our capital system, so it should be pretty good fairly quickly. We've got ammo depots being built in this militarized world. There we go, new systems coming into play. Metal mining world, that's cool. We actually have a lot of metal, but we can start to spend it pretty quickly too once we develop more electronic factories. In fact, that's really what we need. We don't need more. Well, we can use one balanced world in this big one, but you are going to be an electronics world. going to be your thing. More subsystems being unlocked, planets being colonized. Another trade deal, which we probably won't be able to use. Resource goods. This is a one-time trade for 577k goods, which is most of what we've got. They're going to give us some food, which we don't really need. They'll also give us vision. No, I'm going to turn it down. These guys will give us advanced parts in exchange for a bunch of research and luxury goods, which we don't have, and we wouldn't want to give away that much research anyway, so I'll turn it down. Another deal. What the heck? They just keep coming in. No, I thought I turned that down already. The other thing I'm going to want over here, I'm going to want some haulers in this system. I suppose I could just build them here since this planet is idle. I'll build 5 haulers, which will help their economy. Theoretically, if they had any goods. Oh, I'm paused. There we go. There we go. It's mostly done. It's just the later planets that are a little bit slower. But we've got these guys, and again, our galactic bank is mostly tapped. Now, they'll use a lot of metal over here for the early buildings, but the fact that these are tapped out is pretty painful. And if I look at my capital, how is its economy? Is it maxed anywhere? No, okay, so it's not, it is trading away as much as it can. In fact, it's not even using all of its trade capacity. That's very interesting. Blade of armor unlocked, very cool. So we're going to want to start expanding more, but we really need that economy to start working. So I don't want to do it until more of these planets are up to speed. So I'm just going to speed up, let these guys kind of develop. Because while they're being developed, they're sucking resources instead of producing them. And then once they're developed, they're going to start contributing a lot more. Oh, we've unlocked chemistry, which is cool. So via one of these connections, there we go, there was a link to chemistry, just picked it up on its own. We can rush those things if there's something we really want a lot faster. This is going to open up fuel depots, which is okay. But also unlock chemical bombs, which sounds kind of fun. And we haven't gotten any combat yet, but I actually consider that to be a pretty good thing. So there's still planets here being developed, so that's part of why we've got such a log jam here. And while it's jammed like that, we're really not getting much in the way of development. It's literally stalled. Nope, sorry. No, I don't have any luxury resources. Actually, I've got a tiny bit that keep popping in and out, but they don't stick around. We're gonna need some goods planets soon, but we need to secure our production chain first. Propulsion is fine. The speed's not actually a bad thing at all, but I think we need, what is it? Material sciences? No, engineering. It's more metallurgy is what we want for electronics factory, advanced components, plus there's a bunch of stuff here we want to unlock. So I'm going to queue up like 3 more levels. They're going to be very, very expensive, but they're going to help a lot with our production. Plus there's a lot of stuff that this will unlock. This unlocks a metal refinery at level 6. And actually, let me, we're going to want one of those, and then 1 economics for an export dock. And then we're going to want a couple more of those. That's what we're going to do. And then we'll build our first metal refinery just to show off what it does. Capital, these guys are still building. Over here, they're done. Now, I'm actually going to build 3 colony ships here. I'm going to go back to build on best. I'm going to build 3 here so that they can finish off their own system, and that should be fine. And we're still a little bit capped. Still over here, which is our second system that we ever colonized, but it's going to finish up pretty quickly. And in our capital system, I think we're going to need, I'm not sure. Let's take a look at blueprints. Our tankers. Alright, ram scoops, fuel cells, ramjet. So these tankers are interesting. It's not, they don't actually store, well, I mean, they have fuel cells, so they can store a decent amount of fuel. But the big thing is that they've got these buzzard ram scoops, or Bussard ram scoops, which are an actual sort of thing in science, is the idea of scooping up hydrogen, which is all over. Like, space is not empty. There's actually some hydrogen floating around everywhere. So this scoops it up and converts it into fuel. So what you do is you send these tankers with fleets, so they're constantly refueling themselves, and then they can fuel. They supply fuel to ships that need fuel. And I think haulers will haul ammo. So that's all we need in different systems to make sure that those orbital places get topped off. Which actually, we need to build some of those. Once this is finished, as soon as this is finished, we're going to build a fleet of orbital cannons in Okwa. Or Oka. Like, we could probably just do that now. So, build on all, we're going to go 1, 2, 3. 3 in orbit around each one. We'll eventually do the same thing in Veer, but we're going to wait until these are a little bit more developed. And then what we're going to do is shop for a new system. Rasma is actually pretty good. It's got one really big thing, and then it's got a variety of little systems. So we'll set that. And we can flag a few at once as well. It's going to do it smarter. It's going to do it smartly. I think it selects partially based on range, and it tries to finish off systems that are already colonized first. A lot of these are fine. I'm just looking for the best ones. 23 and a 21, that's pretty good in packs. (22) and 23 and 21, this is really good actually. I'll auto-colonize that. Size 28 is immense actually. That is a really good place. Yeah, these are fine too. 25 is very nice. So I think now if we were to build some more colony ships in our systems, then it would start to colonize those. Now it's going to finish off here. There we go. At first it's going to make sure to fill up anywhere where we've got space. Again, I'm going to wait. Electronics, we've got a problem. We've got way more metal than we need. Now if I look at metallurgy, at level 8 metallurgy, level 6 computers, I can build an electronics fabricator, which sounds pretty important to me. So we're about to hit 8 here, but we also need level 6 computers, and if we look at the computers, it's not even unlocked yet. We need to unlock it by exploring one of the links from either engineering or material sciences. I'm going to look at engineering because it can actually unlock 2 things. So we're going to queue up some of these cheap ones. Some of the ones that are already partially looked at. I guess these 2. And then hope one of those unlocks computers for us so we can get it to level 6. Because we're definitely going to want some of these orbital electronics fabricators. They're very, very good. What do you want? Luxury resources? No, I can't. Speed things up a little bit. Nope, sorry. And luxury goods are important for the morale of your planet, which increases their production and all those things. Just regular goods. We have lots of goods. For advanced parts, love it. Let's do it. I have an excess of these things. Planetary cannons. Here's coming along nicely. I don't think I've built any haulers here, so let's build 5 of them. We've got excess of supplies. Great, so let's build a bunch of colony ships. Actually, we're going to want to dry dock really soon. That's probably going to be the next thing on our queue. Yeah, I'm going to send out this group of 5 colony ships, and then we're going to build a dry dock. Once our economy is sort of bounced back. We've still got a shortage of electronics here. Let's cover a link between engineering and propulsion. That is not particularly helpful since I already had that link. Is that really it? The links? Ugh. So I'm going to want... Well, ultimately both of those. Gravitics is not a very high priority, though. So Suppose I could go after whatever cheap ones happen to be here. Something like that. Or cheap or partially research is actually what I'm trying to do here. Come on, unlock computers for me. Biology is also fine, farms are pretty good, but I really want computers. Ah, so it's one of these last two. Well, they're both 200k. My research rate is phenomenal right now. There's computers, great. Get me all the way up to 6 so I can build an electronics fabricator. It's going to help our economy really super lots. Now while it's doing that, in my capital, actually in all my systems, I'm going to want to build this once. We're going to build, and I'm going to make sure it's on my biggest planet for a few reasons. I'm going to build a dry dock. Dry dock is very interesting. It's a very big ship, but it's a station. It sits in orbit around a planet. And what it does is you can use it to build ships there. And the big difference is that it doesn't require any labor. It still needs all the resources, and it sucks them up from the planet it's orbiting, is how I believe it works. But it doesn't need any labor whatsoever. So right now, like, we're labor capped here. And we've got all the resources, we're just waiting for that labor, and that's why we haven't finished the dry dock yet. Otherwise it would already be done. And so dry docks can build ships incredibly quickly. So I like to build one in every single one of my systems. I find it makes a really, really big difference. So instead of just all planets, I actually want my planets and docks listed. I can do the same thing here. Again, I'm going to want to build it around the biggest planet. There we go, subsystem unlocked. Here, oh, we've got 2 pretty big planets. Excellent. Actually, I should, whoops, pin these. And pin that. So these are my kind of capital planets in each one of my systems that happen to have a dry dock orbiting them. Maybe I shouldn't build them simultaneously, but no, they're pretty much capped by the labor. So when you get to that point where you've got lots of resources, which I do, and labor is the problem, that's when you want to build those orbital dry docks. Because then you get these to build ships, and they build them so freaking fast. So it's actually time to build a nice big military in Immel. I'm going to build 5 capital ships, 5 dreadnoughts, and 5 cruisers. Now some of them are still going to get built at the planets, but most of them will get built in the dry dock. If I check the queue, yeah, quite a few things queued up there. Because it builds it fast. You want regular goods at a rate, you're going to give me food and vision, not much food. You know what, I'm going to accept just for diplomatic reasons. So now we've got a nice big army building here, because then I'm going to take these ships and I'm going to move them, there we go, to Vase, for example. So we've got, oops, let me zoom in on Immel, which is my capital. Grab all these ships. Oh, it also grabs my orbital cannons, which I don't want. It's kind of weird. Well, it shouldn't matter. Anyway, I'm going to right-click on Vase. Tell these ships to move to that system. Because Vase won't be able to build military units right away. There we are. These guys are all going. Well, not the haulers, but the military units should all go. Capital ships, good. Because my capital, of course, is fairly well defended by the orbital cannons. You want luxuries? I cannot give you luxuries, I'm sorry. Okay. Now we can probably mass expand pretty aggressively. I'm going to build some of these colony ships all over. We're going to spread like mad. All systems, select all. I guess I can't do it that way. But I can pretty much just tell them, listen, colonize everything here. I can also, if I want, I can zoom out here and just like grab all the planets and then just right click and then say auto colonize. The problem is it will also grab places that have enemies, and so by doing it this way it won't do that. What do you want? Goods at a rate... Well, I have infinite goods. You also want research? And you're going to give me metal? No, that's stupid. Got more than I need for that. Now, what I need to do is improve my electronics production. So I'm going to go into my blueprints, and I'm going to import one of my previous designs for an electronics factory. Actually, you know what? I'll build it manually just to show it. So we're going to go clear design. We're going to use, and we've got different hulls, you see now, for different types of ships, but I'm still going to be building just a station. And I'm going to be building an electronics fabricator. So this will, and let me pause briefly. There we go. This will convert metal into electronic components, or electronics, at a rate, when it's size 4, it'll do it at a rate of 14.1, I don't know, per second or something. So that we need to know, okay. And what else does it need? Well, it needs some control. Actually, before it gets there, it also needs an export dock, because this will allow it to take the goods it produces and export it directly to the Galactic Bank, which is great. And if I bring this up, if I bring it up to size 4, the export rate is 11.2. I'm producing more than that. Now, my haulers will help offset that, but what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to shrink this at some point anyway. So now it's producing an 11.4, exporting an 11.2. That's pretty good. What does it need? It needs some control. I'm actually going to use a computer core to give me the control instead of a crew. This can be totally unmanned. Just need some power now. And again, rather than using power generators, which generates power from fuel, which is good on ships because it's space efficient. Here, I don't care so much about that. I can also use fusion generators, which use less fuel. But I'm just going to use solar panels. So one here. Ooh. There we go. That's pretty much all I need. I could add some extra subsystems to fill it out, but you know what? I don't care that much. So I'm going to call this Electronic Fabricator. So now the only question is, how big do I want this thing to be? The size will affect how quickly it can do it. So let's maybe do a size 50, or 60 apparently is what I typed. I don't know if I can get a good detail about the actual rate that it's effectively going to be creating at. But it's, I don't know. I guess not. In layout view? Oh yeah, see now I'm fabricating at a rate of 687 per tick. And trading away almost the same rate, so that's good. Now we also need to change the AI settings. Right now it's already set up to fetch fuel and ammo when it's low. Which is silly because we're not really going to be needing any of these, but you may as well leave those in. It will also get rid of electronics whenever over 25% of its storage is full of electronics. So it'll pretty much do that constantly. But we also need it to fetch metal to create the electronics. Yeah, this is fine. Basically, you know, whenever it's under 50% more or less, it's going to go and fetch more metal. So it's always going to have a set of metal, and it's going to deposit electronics. It's possible that I don't have it 100% in terms of how it's supposed to work, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I'll fill up the extra space with just a generic cargo bay, just to sort of ease the bumpiness a little bit by having a little extra storage. So we'll save this design, and now it's in our blueprint list right over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to probably each of my dry docks and build one. There we go. Now, unless I'm wrong, actually, I suppose it doesn't need its own export module, or the import of it. See, the import is going to can come from haulers, but I think it'll actually just also suck it up from the planets it's orbiting, which is why it's important for the planets, so that I know what planets they are, like this capital here, because they're going to need a lot of spaceports to trade. And in fact, these planets aren't going to need electronic factories quite so much. So let me turn off the governor. I'm going to remove these electronic factories and add some spaceports. By the way, if at any point if you know how to play this game and I've gotten any of this wrong, please clarify it. But this seems to work, and I'm pretty sure it's the way it's supposed to work. So now this is my capital planet, can trade a lot more, and it should be interacting with those orbital production devices a lot more once they complete. And right now, see this one's stuck. I'm betting it's actually waiting on electronics. It is too. But as soon as these are built, it should clear up pretty quick. There we go. That's just done. Now, if I click on my capital, show it to me on the world map, and then close these, I can actually see a variety of things orbiting my planet. Like, you can see them. These are my orbital cannons, not very big. Here's a hauler, here's my dry dock, and here's my electronics fabricator. And if I check the economy, it is indeed, it's got some metal and it's producing electronics. I can look at the cargo as well. And it's constantly going through all this. Every now and again it gets reloaded on metal, and then it produces a bunch of electronics from that. Awesome, right? Now you can always add more orders to these ships by right-clicking on them if you forgot to do something. There's a lot of different things you can do. Unlock system plasma thrower, that's very cool. And of course, even though I'm designing all the economic stuff, because actually that's the stuff that kind of interests me the most, you can spend a lot of time also designing warships that have some pretty interesting subsystems. Like, again, the carriers are pretty cool. They've got a ship bay, and in their AI settings, carrier settings, so they've got a lot of things. What their strike craft is, it's fighters. And you can actually put anything in the cargo bay. You can put electronic fabricators, what? I don't think they would fit, but you can, so by default it just carries a bunch of fighters. You can have a different variant of the carrier that carries a lot of bombers, for example. And again, we can scale everything up. Anyway, I hope that is enough of a taste of the game for you. We haven't covered warfare, which is not terribly hard. If we had some military ships, like we've got a couple of cruisers here, and then you right-click on an enemy system, like way over here, like you can right-click on a planet or the star itself and just choose attack. And then it'll just attack those planets, try to bomb them and blow them up and kill them, and other people will come and do the same thing to you. The combat is actually very cool to look at, but because I set the AI to trivial, because I was doing like this as just a tutorial introduction, we didn't actually get to see any hit us, which is too bad. But I can do here, maybe I can set the entire universe to auto-colonize, and then go to select all. Actually, not select all, just the good ones. There you go. You guys who are sort of a little more established. Actually, you three who are my established ones. Build on best. You're going to go and build 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 20 colony ships that are going to be built. So we're just going to spread out through the entire galaxy. Anyway, there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. And check out the game yourself. It's not very expensive. It's a little indie game, and I find it shockingly kind of addictive and calming at the same time. And there's some really cool technology later, stealth technology, and of course you can build huge, immense ships, which literally are like the size of planets or bigger. Like if you want your own Death Star, you can totally do that. Oh, enemy scouts. Cool. Anyway, that is it. I'll see you folks next time.